Part 2, we're going to continue the Apex trigger installation, but we're going to feature the C&H Precision mounting plate. A big improvement over the old one. Bo and Buck Hawley, C&H Precision, hooked us up with the version 4 military and law enforcement Glock MOS version of it. It's for the RMR and the SRO, the Holosun 407C, 508C, 508T. This thing is one of the best things since sliced bread when it comes to installing an MOS. It's made in the USA. It's real simple, and we're going to follow their instructions. We're going to ensure the firearm's unloaded, apply the thread lock type device that's applied, allow it to dry for 15 to 30 minutes, install the T-nuts into the bottom of the plate, install the plate onto the slide, secure the M3 screws and torque it to 10 inch-pounds, and install the red dot on the plate and torque the 440 screws to 10 inch-pounds. Witness mark the screws, then put the manufacturer instructions. We're going to do the rest for install. Now, it's really smart to witness mark all the screws when you're done so that you know without screwing up your thread lock if things have backed out a little bit. You want to do this so that you don't have to risk becoming a one-eyed pirate. This thing is quality. It installs snug. Instead of just floating on top of that flat plate, it's a precision fit. Has a much higher value for twisting and holding that sucker in place. More thread engagement as well. Getting the old one off of this served to be a little bit of a challenge, as the previous installer had a little bit of a stripped head on the one side. Once we figured out what was going on and used a little bit slightly larger, we were finally able to get it removed. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, take the red dot sight off of the gun. This particular one is a Trigicon red dot sight, the one that gathers light and has the laser projection in it. Gets brighter with daylight. It's a good quality optic. Took a while to get used to shooting it with the triangle instead of the dot. Again, we struggled a little bit getting it removed. Had a little bit of excess thread lock down inside. It was a happy moment when it finally let loose. Tried to remove the stuck component, the extractor, depressor, plunger. It still wasn't letting loose. You'll see that I had to put a little more effort into getting it out later. With the optic off, next you need to remove the MOS plate. As I was doing this, I could see the signs of what was to come with a lot of thread lock. Still did not want to budge. What's that saying? Get a bigger hammer. A little more torsion to get it loose. We got it out of the way. We're not going to reuse these screws. We're going to use the new ones provided by C&H Precision. More thread lock visible on the slide itself. And you can look down inside and see the crusted up thread lock. I finally took a small screwdriver blade and had to pry to get the extractor depressor plunger pushed back so that I could get the extractor removed from the slide, and then finally push the components out by taking a small Allen key and pushing it out from inside. I'm sure somebody's seen one a little more stuck than this, but this was the most stuck I've engaged or experienced the plunger being inside of the gun. Wasn't expecting to come across this and just had to keep on fiddling with it to figure it out. Once I forced it down, that's what made it easy to come apart. Just getting some of that piled up thread lock out of the way. Here's where I finally figured it out. Normally all you have to do is put a little bit of downward pressure on that, and a gentle smack into your hand, and the extractor drops out. Again, I had to get down inside with a small Allen key and give it some good force to push it out of the way. And as you can see, it was pretty coated and was stuck. It was in essence glued in place. Make sure when you're done working on a gun like this, you wash your hands with cold, soapy water to get the lead off of your body. Cold water so your pores don't open up and allow the lead into yourself. Off camera, I took a few minutes and I scrubbed the slide good, making sure to not get debris down inside the firing pin channel. Voila, it's clean. C&H Precision plate drops right into place. We're going to put the T-nuts on first. This is a great addition to the C&H Precision mounting plate. If you screw up your threads, you don't have to replace the entire plate, you just replace these. Hopefully you don't screw them up, but if you do, it's a much less expensive way to fix things. Bravo to C&H Precision for coming up with fun new ways to fix problems that we seem to create. Just hold them in place, put it back on the slide. It's obvious where they get their name. Their components are a very precise fit. Use the correct provided screws and their thread lock. Don't overdo it. A little bit goes a long way. They even provide the correct Torx bit so you don't strip out the screws because you used the wrong size bit. Vibratite, again, is provided in the kit. I should have cut just a tinier corner to that so that I could control the flow out. I ended up making a goopy mess, but that's just kind of how I roll. Don't pour the thread lock down in the holes. Put a little bit on the screw, let it dry for a while, and then put it in. You'll see that it's sticking tacky within minutes. Don't over tighten these. Off camera, I used my Real Avid driver to make sure that it was tightened to the recommended value of 10 inch-pounds. Finger tight initially. It's a good looking slide plate. Drop your optic on, and it's already tighter than the old plate was, and more thread engagement. Repeat the process with the Vibratite. And again, off camera, I used my Real Avid driver to take the screws to 10 inch-pounds. I have some black fingernail polish that I'm going to use. And I'm going to take that and use that for a reference line, making sure that they're witness marked and I know if they've been backed out. Common mistake people make is they'll check their screws by tightening them up. When you do that, you're changing the inch-pounds and you're ruining the thread lock that you used. Put a witness mark so you avoid the temptation of doing that. Throw away the old MOS plate because it's worthless. Now you're going to install, after cleaning, your extractor. This is a build-up point. A dental pick works good to get cleaned in behind. Remove the spring from the old safety correction firing pin, plunger, or extractor depressor plunger. I finally got that right. Insert the new one, drop it down in the hole, put your extractor in the slot while pushing down on the plunger. And plunger probably isn't the right word, it's the firing pin safety. Now put your extractor depressor plunger, depressor, and drop that with the spring-loaded bearing down inside. Then your striker. Clean it off good. There's no oil that belongs down inside this channel. It's just plastic sleeve with a plastic sleeve. Get your cover plate, start it. Use something like a punch or an armorer's tool to push down on the striker while pushing forward on the plate, and then do the same thing on your depressor plunger. It'll snap when it's in place, and then function check it, make sure things are working right. It should move freely without any effort, but not expose itself unless you push down on your firing pin safety. Push down on that, and it allows it to go forward where it would actually strike the cartridge in the chamber. That's it. Again, make sure you put a witness mark on the screws so you know if things are backing out. Put your barrel recoil spring back in place, plastic to the front, metal to the barrel. Isn't that much better looking? and definitely more functional. C&H Precision is a clean install. Dab of oil on your oiling points that are recommended by the manufacturer. I'm going to take a razor knife and just clean up these old tired grip tape so that there's nothing hanging off. We'll replace these later. That's another project. I'm actually cutting the tape, not the frame of the gun here. The tape has seen better days. I got to remember to replace that pin. The front rails started. Keep it aligned. Get the back rails on all the way to the rear. Gun's reassembled. And boy, is that a nice clean trigger break. Just a couple of repetitions to move oil around where metal is against metal, and because it's an impressive trigger press. Apex has got a great product, and so does C&H Precision. It's a winning combination. Thanks for joining us.